All right. What's going on, guys? I think I hit that right one. Welcome back to Black Bear News, where everything is connected. Early chatters are in. What's going on? Yes, that's actually something from my latest EP that I just put out. So hopefully y'all enjoy that. It's kind of like appropriately dystopian or doomerish. One thing. Uh, Something like that. But anyways, I'm live on Rockfin. We have Urban Hermit on Rockfin who says hello. And a music intro for a change. Thanks, Poppy. Thanks, Poppy. Thanks, Gene. Kiro Hikes. Says, one thing I will say about the right is they understand politics. They say if you don't do what we want, we will take away our votes. Right. The left says we will vote for you no matter what. Right. I was just thinking about that this morning. About the subservience of the left, not just the left, but even, even some, and again, this is a huge generalization, but this whole idea that certain minority groups are propping up the candidates in the Democratic Party, or thank a black voter for Trump being gone, or thank a black voter for Biden being president, or a Latino voter for Latino women voted Biden in. This whole idea that it was because of certain people that we made the bad person go away. And I don't know, just that whole thing is weird to me because if you actually understand, it's kind of like Trumpers or Trumpism. We're just supporting our side because it's our side, and we don't really care if we get treated badly. We don't really care if our needs or our demands or wishes or hopes and dreams, we don't care if those things are not addressed. We're just voting for you because you're our side. It's kind of like that's exactly what the left says about Trumpers or the right. These people support Trump. He gives them nothing but platitudes and empty words and promises. And they're like, but he's our guy. But he's the best. America's the best. America's the greatest. He loves America. He's the best. I don't see any different. I don't see where it's any different on the left, because Biden is absolutely not promised or, given anybody anything, or said he's going to give anybody anything. He basically said, if you don't like me, go vote for Trump. That's what he told um, a Latino man who had questions about immigration reform for Joe Biden. He was like, basically, shut up, sit down, go vote for Trump if you don't like it. That's, okay. Yes, Gene, that's my music. Thank you. I'm glad you liked it. Just trying a little something new. Hopefully y'all heard that and it wasn't too crazy. Right. So on a personal level, I don't vote for anybody who doesn't offer me anything. And I feel like people who vote for people who don't offer you anything are not that well educated about what's going on in politics or in their life or in the world, right? You go out and you vote for somebody who promises you nothing and gives you nothing. It sounds like you're a fool. Why would you do that? And, if it's all about just like, blue team, more on the blue team, black people for blue team, or Latino people for blue team, or, I don't know, women for blue team. What does that matter? What does that mean? That doesn't mean anything. Plenty of black people, more black people voted for Trump this time around. What does that mean? More Latino people voted for Trump this time around. What does that mean? It means that maybe people have different needs and wants and wishes and likes. Maybe people aren't monolithic on any level, right? White people, black people, women, men. Maybe people aren't monolithic. More LGBT people voted for Trump this time around. Maybe LGBT aren't monolithic. Maybe people are just people. Maybe people think for themselves. Maybe it's not about teams. I don't know. And yes, Kuro Hikes had a really good comment earlier about, what was it? Hold on, I got to go back and read this comment from Kuro. Now our bombs have rainbow flags on them. I'm sure the civilians killed by them will appreciate it. Right. Oh, thank God. Yeah, Jimmy Dore has a really good joke about if it was 1860, we'd be celebrating how, now we have LGBT slave owners or trans slave owners, right? Oh, diversity of oppression, diversity in oligarchy. Now we have, people of color running the military and dropping bombs on people. Isn't that wonderful? Whatever. Now trans people can join the military and kill people like everybody else. Oh, that's so, what an achievement. Beautiful. Anyways. Kuro Hikes, the left cry and tweet woke bullshit, then they will go and vote for the left anyways because they're spineless cowards. Yes, right. Except for a few people got hip to the game. A few people got wise this time around. And were like, nah, nope. Well, actually, I didn't vote. 2016, I did not vote for either Democrat or Republican. I've never voted Republican, by the way, in my life, but just as an aside, I voted Green in 2016 and 2020 because no can do. No can do with the two-party system. Grateful Dan, Biden's climate change advisor, John Kerry, said, another neoliberal, neocon, whatever you want to call him, said we can have economic growth and decarbonize our economy. Biden's administration is a joke. All of this is just virtue signaling, woke signaling, whatever. It's all empty, 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 empty. Empty on both sides. The funny thing is, Kuro, when Biden told the Latino man who had questions about immigration, he told him to go vote for Trump. The interesting thing is that Obama deported more people in his first term than Trump did. And not a lot of people even know that. Obama was known as the deporter in chief. But somehow Trump is the crazy lunatic fascist. Somehow facts just don't matter. If it's your side, it doesn't matter. If it's the other side, it matters. But it doesn't matter to that side. So I don't know. Yeah. Andy, anything, anytime, man. Judy Truitt, back from library duty this year, library closed. I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, yes, right. Yes, on December 23rd, I will be joining the Natural Progressive for a discussion with Derek Jensen. If you guys want to set your calendars for that, that'll be fun. Okay. Let's get into stuff. Um, I had an interesting conversation. I had an interesting conversation with a friend of mine, and this conversation seems to be yesterday. I posted, or I showed you all some posts about people on my Facebook or on the internet that are not necessarily watching this channel, not that I know of, but are as climate aware as anybody on this channel. So I think it's starting to seep into people's consciousness that we have a problem. And yeah, I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday who we stumbled on the concept of climate change, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm hiking in the mountains and I'm seeing streams that should be full of water and they're not full of water. We're losing our snowpack." He's kind of seeing the the firsthand literal effects of climate change, and kind of putting it together and seeing the damage that we're doing to the planet. I'm like, yeah. I didn't really go off too hard, but I just was like, yes, that's all, pretty much what I had to say. Um, so yeah, it's starting, climate change is, um, to people who are super clued in, and even to people who are vaguely aware, it's starting to become a thing, right? It's starting to grab hold of people's awareness, and people are starting to go, huh, well, that's different. Things are not the same, or we seem to be getting a lot of storms. There seems to be a lot of wildfires. There seems to be less snowpack this year. There seems to be drought. Boiled rope lampposts. The wildfires drove the point home. Indeed. Indeed. Um, yeah, so let's get into some climate change stuff, if we can. I wanted to start this off with a very interesting graph. I kind of wanted to read this article, but I don't really care to. I think I kind of glanced over this article maybe in another show. Oh, real quickly. Well, yeah, I kind of glanced over this article in another show, I think. It's a little bit older, and the article says curbing climate change has a dollar value. Here's how and why we measure it. Yeah, I'm sure it has a dollar value, but I'm just really not into the idea of putting a price on a livable habitat and a price on the planet. I want to I want to stop doing that. I want to go in another direction. But this graph is really interesting to me. And I don't know if I can make this bigger. I can. This is from 2011, right? I may have even shown this graph before, but it's just so interesting. In 2011, they were like, here's where we are. That we were under 400. And they were like, well, you know, they were doing the old IPCC or whatever it is, or COP 69 or whatever. Well, if we, you know, best case scenario, this is what it's going to look like in 2100. Can you see this? That's like, let me see, it's about 500. So this is around, like, I guess they're saying about 450, best case scenario, 2100. You know that we're at like 420 already right now. We are absolutely at 420 right now. So this is a hilarious, you know, lower scenario or best case scenario. We do everything right. We're going to, again, stay well below 2C. We want to stay within the 1.5 guardrail, right? So this is not even 10 years ago. They were like, yeah, hope we do everything okay. Well, we're almost here. 9 years later, we're almost here at the worst case, or the best case scenario, lower scenario, 2100. And then, boing. So if we want to go, let's go up to 500. Let's go up to the carbon equivalent, which is we're almost here in carbon equivalent in the atmosphere. So, ooh, ouch. 2020. If we want to say carbon equivalent, we're CO2 equivalent, we're like here. Oh, how long before we get here? How long before we get here, I wonder. Let's move on to this from Scientific American. Newly identified jet stream pattern could, I love that word, could imperil global food supplies. You don't say. This is from a year ago. December 9, 2019, a new study finds a 20-fold increase in the risk of simultaneous heat waves in major crop-producing regions when the pattern is in place. And I think they're talking about something that's already happening, because the jet stream is all over the place. And if you haven't noticed that, then you're not paying attention. And when you want to pay attention and you notice the jet stream is way out of whack, you're like, oh, yeah, that's wrong. It shouldn't be like that. What is that, an anomaly? What, that's just going to happen this year and go away next year? During the summer of 2018, the future of climate change became the present. The present. Highly amplified jet stream patterns remain stuck in place for unusually long periods of time. So this is kind of something that's, you know, really started showing up about 5 years ago and has been pretty much a trend, a pattern that has become a new normal, right? It doesn't, not something that just happened and went away. It's like happening all the time. If you're paying attention, if you're playing at home, it's happening all the time. Highly amplified jet stream patterns remain stuck in place for unusually long periods of time, bringing the planet an onslaught of remarkable weather catastrophes. Remarkable. Remember that? Remember the Little Rascals episode? Remarkable. For example, unprecedented heat waves and drought in East Asia and Northern Europe. The start of the deadliest and most expensive fire season on record in California. And, oh, low, it's 2020, I mean. And we have eclipsed the deadliest and most expensive fire season on record and Japan's deadliest floods since 1982. And low, I believe we probably have eclipsed those too. I'm not sure, but we're working on it. We're working real hard on that. The extreme summer weather helped bring the 2018 tally of billion-dollar weather-related disasters to 39. The fourth highest such total for any year since 1990, according to insurance broker Aon Benfield. Among these were $7 billion droughts, the highest number of billion-dollar droughts on record. Previous record, 6 in 1995 and 2015. Total damages from drought in 2018 were near 33 billion. Tied for the fifth highest level of global drought damage since 1975. Unfortunately, extreme jet stream patterns like those of 2018 may be getting more common and more extreme, representing a significant danger to global food security. An April 26th paper, Extreme Weather Events in Early Summer 2018, connected by a recurrent hemispheric wave 7 pattern by climate scientist Kai Kornhuber of Columbia University and co-authors, found that the 2018 extremes were associated with a particular mode of stuck-in-place jet stream behavior, one that has increased in frequency and persistence in recent decades. Well, the just published December 9th follow-up study, Amplified Rossby Waves Enhance Risk of Concurrent Heat Waves in Major Breadbasket Regions, also led by Dr. Kornhuber, found that stuck jet stream patterns like seen in 2018 are prone to bringing simultaneous heat waves and associated drought conditions to multiple important grain-producing regions of the world. The authors wrote that these stuck jet stream patterns can cause reductions of 4% in crop production in affected regions, with regional decreases up to 11%. Given the importance of these regions for global food production, the identified teleconnections have the potential to fuel multiple harvest failures, posing risks to global food security. A teleconnection is a causal connection or correlation between meteorological phenomena which occurs a long distance apart. Reach out and teleconnect some correlations. In a press release that accompanied the most recent paper, Dr. Kornhuber said, "We found a 20-fold, 20 times, that's a lot of times, 20-fold increase in the risk of simultaneous heat waves in major crop-producing regions when these global-scale wind patterns are in place. Until now, this was an underexplored vulnerability in the food system." Well, we're about to explore it a whole lot deeper, my friends. During these events, there actually is a global structure in the otherwise quite chaotic circulation. The bell can ring in multiple regions at once. Yikes. Kornhuber and colleagues found that between 1979 and 2018, Rossby waves with specific wavelengths termed Wave 5 and Wave 7, meaning that north-south wobbles in the jet stream that produce either 5 or 7 peaks and corresponding troughs around the planet's circumference, can lock into a grid of symmetric large meanders, sometimes known as, vortexes, etc., centered over predictable regions, or also known as ridges, resilient ridges, etc., located over central North America, Eastern Europe, and Eastern Asia. The Wave 7 patterns bring heat waves and drought to western central North America, Western Europe, and Western Asia. Normally, low harvests in one region are expected to be balanced out by good harvests elsewhere, said study co-author Dim Kumau of the Institute for Environmental Studies at VU University Amsterdam, who has co-authored several papers on extreme jet stream behavior in recent years. These waves can cause reduced harvests in several important breadbaskets simultaneously, creating risks for global food production. Again, if you are playing along at home, you would know these things are absolutely happening. What's up, guys? I got 89 watching, 38 likes. Please like up the video. I think I got a super chat somewhere. Shan Holzer, thank you for the super chat. It says, I primarily listen to grindcore, avant-garde metal, but I like a lot of different funk. I bought your digital album, pretty damn good. It's a keeper. Thank you, Kevin Shanholzer. Thanks for the review, the album review. I appreciate that. Saying hi to the people on Rockfin. Robert Lloyd. Ryan Gorman is on Rockfin. Osama number 5 is on Rockfin. Cornholio says Dr. Cornhuber. Indeed, Cornholio. Uh-oh. What happened there? Crapo. Hold on. Oh, geez. I think I just crapped out my live stream. Hold on one second. Didn't mean to do that, but maybe we'll get back there. Okay, we're back. I think we're back. All right. Sorry, guys, for the interruption. Anyways, good to see you all here on Rockfin. Thanks for hanging out, guys. We are still going, I hope. It says we're going. It says we're live, so great. Anyways, let's go back to the next thing I wanted to cover. And this is from devx.com, Sink or Swim, an historic year of floods in Asia. It has been a historic year for floods, storms, all manner of things. All manner of things. 2020 has been a record year of flooding in Asia, in the Asia-Pacific region, with cities in East, Southeast, and South Asia seeing economic losses, loss of life, and widespread displacement due to heavy rains. The figures are staggering. In China alone, 2.7 million were evacuated, and 63 million were affected, while Nepal has experienced 4,500 landslides. And at one point, 1/3 of Bangladesh was underwater. Another 17 million were affected by flooding in South Asia. Floods also impacted part of Indonesia, and in the past month, Vietnam and the Philippines have also been hit. Altogether, they highlight the need to scale up solutions to help fast-growing cities build flood resilience. Well, no need to question whether those cities should be fast-growing cities or whether we should be growing anything so fast other than food and plant life. But resilience indeed. Low-lying developing countries and cities in Asia are facing a 1-2-3 punch, said Sally Yozel, director of the Environmental Security Program at the Stimson Center, a Washington, D.C.-based research center. Massive storms, flooding, sea level rise, all on top of the social and economic issues that many coastal communities have. It's extreme. Indeed, it's extreme. Where are we? While there is a growing awareness that nature-based and community solutions are needed to increase flood resilience in the most vulnerable cities, scaling up and redirecting climate and adaptation finance remains a challenge across the region. Climate adaptation finance is going to be a challenge everywhere, unless we take the situation seriously and can look at it realistically too. But we'll get into that later. Science points to climate link. Whoa, really? Well, tell us more. Climate change models Hold on 1 second, guys. Hold on 1 second, guys. Okay. Alrighty. Climate change models predict that in Asia, rainfall during the wet season will become more concentrated while the dry season becomes longer. Those are from them models. We are talking about some 15 to 20% more intense events in terms of the accumulated rainfall, said Giriraj Amarnath, research group leader for the Water Risks and Disasters Program at the International Water Management Institute, based in Colombo, Sri Lanka. It's also estimated that these kinds of events are 3 times more likely now due to climate change. Flooding alone is not an issue. It can provide benefits for agriculture and fishing production around and near cities, but climate change has made regular seasonal patterns less predictable, straining the capacity of landscapes and urban infrastructure to adapt. Indeed. While science has gotten better at connecting specific extreme weather events to climate change, because it's super important. Oh, this is connected. This wasn't connected. This is connected. Super important to know that. How about just, understanding, you can zoom way out and just understand that it's going to all get worse due to climate change. It's due to climate change. So, I guess people need jobs doing studies, wondering whether something's connected to climate change or not. At this point, I think we could dispense with all of those and maybe study how it is we can, all scientists dogpile onto the study about how it is we're going to get the human race off the couch and into the mode of thinking that we've got something really important to take care of. Like, please, all hands on deck, scientists included. One thing is clear, though, climate change will likely mean that these kinds of extreme flooding events will become more common in Asia. Using words, likely. It will. Climate change will mean that these kinds of extreme flooding events will become more common in Asia. The impact we've seen across parts of Asia this year fits very much with the trends we've been seeing for many years. So, right, it's a trend. It's happening. It's a thing. You know what I'm saying? Today, climate and weather-related events account for nearly 9 out of all 10. Exactly. So we've determined that climate-related weather events account for nearly 9 out of all 10 disasters. So at this point, there is absolutely no need for any more studies about what's connected to climate change. Anyways, yes. There have been massive floods. And we know this this year, and it's, they were just pointing out the obvious, which is that we have had a massive record-setting extreme weather year, 2020, breaking many records, floods, crop failures, crop impacts, people having to be evacuated, refugees, etc. It's all bad. Let's move on. So and out of the Atlantic this year, it's from November 10th, 2020, with 2020 Atlantic hurricane season takes infamous top spot for busiest on record. We already know this. If you didn't know, now you know. With less than a month remaining in the Atlantic hurricane season, the formation of subtropical storm Theta on November 10th, this is, a month ago, over the northeastern Atlantic Ocean made the 2020 season the most active on record. Just reiterating what we already know, and we actually got a few more storms named, I believe, right? We got Iota. Did we make it to Kappa and Lambda? Anybody? After the historic Atlantic hurricane season of 2005, which included Hurricane Katrina, it's remarkable to have another season during my career that would reach this extreme level of activity. Why is it remarkable, though? Said Louis W. Uccellini, PhD, director of NOAA's National Weather Service. I mean, I guess it's remarkable on a scientific level, but you know what's happening. I hope. Louis W. Uccellini. I hope you understand, why would it be that remarkable? I would think that that would be totally expected. But he's just talking about mundane things like, improved hurricane forecasts. All right, that's good. I've got a hurricane forecast for you. Hurricanes will get bigger, stronger, and there will be plenty more hurricanes where that came from. That's my hurricane. That's my official scientific hurricane forecast. So, what you gonna do about that? What are we gonna do about that? Other than go like, golly gee, it's really remarkable. It's wild. It's exciting. Scientists get all. It's weird when scientists get all excited about horrible things. This is like ice calving and stuff like that. Whoa, we've never seen anything like this. It's exciting. Okay, it's the end of the world. Can't wait. The Atlantic hurricane season in a nutshell. Season began early when Arthur formed on May 16th. And the extremely active season quickly went through the predetermined list of 21 names, ending with Wilfred on September 18th. Then, for only the second time in history, the Greek alphabet was used for the remainder of the season, with Alpha forming the same day. The Atlantic hurricane season officially ends on November 30th, but additional storms could develop beyond that date, and they did. Anyways, just pointing out that it was a record-setting year. Just reiterating, it was a record-setting year. Well, it said it said that the hurricane season was over November 30th. And I guess I haven't seen any more. Yeah. We got people watching on Rockfin. We got some people hanging out talking about corn and whatnot with Cornholio. If you want to join the corn chat on Rockfin, might be good for a laugh. Thanks for hanging out with me on Rockfin, guys. Let's move on. Let's read something. It's been a little while since we've read something from George Sacroclides. And he posted something the other day called Awaken into the Nightmare. There are a few things I've learned from my career as a market researcher when it comes to understanding human behavior and what triggers changes in this behavior. At a time when our conduct on this planet needs to change dramatically if we are to salvage whatever pieces may remain. My decades of observation of consumer behavior stand true to this day. The main driver of behavioral change is not a get up and go mentality. It is not even determination, and it certainly isn't hope or positivity. What changes our behavior is a fundamental awakening inside of us to the need to change in the first place. We are a purpose-driven species and will only execute a new behavior if we really believe in it, and if we believe that we have something to gain from it. Only if we fundamentally believe that something has changed will we recognize that we need to change as well in response. Once this awakening happens, action is easy. It is rapid and cataclysmic. We can literally move mountains. This is why, as an author and activist, I have not focused on climate action and have sometimes been perceived as a resigned doomist that seems to have an obsessive fetish for the apocalypse. But this is not because I don't believe in or do not want to see action. It is because I fundamentally believe that we are not ready yet, because we are not awake. Without an awakening, any climate mitigation action will fail. Everything I write, everything I say has been and will always be about what is needed before even action begins, a long overdue, rude wake-up call. We are simply stuck at this awakening phase, unable to wake up in a house that is burning all around us, Bombarding consumers with climate action messages hasn't worked and will not work. They are all too asleep, too sedated by the meaningless pursuits our system has addicted them to so that they can keep on feeding the CO2 machine. The real action needed first is an intervention, a rehab, a complete reconsideration of the value and meaning of our existence, as well as a realization by the addicts themselves that they are facing their own existential threat. As much as it sounds impossible to bring about this fundamental change in awareness, without it we will sleepwalk ourselves into solutions and actions that never go the distance that they need to go. The house is already burning down, but some of the furniture could still be salvaged. Those politicians at the climate change conferences who vote year after year to reduce emissions are only doing it because it is the accepted thing to do these days. Part of the pantomime choreography they've all been given to follow. I've had private conversations with some of them, and it appears that many are not even convinced climate change is that urgent. If there is no awakening, there is no urgency. If there is no urgency, there is no action. Similarly, many of the scientists have not woken up to the importance of their role not only in providing data, but in putting their careers on the line, if needed, to paint the picture in its true colors, devoid of numbers and carefully crafted jargon that no one cares about. Being a scientist myself, I know that charts and figures function as nothing else but lullabies for an already asleep humanity. We need scientists that embrace emotion, this misunderstood hormonal response that science has shunned for centuries. Woo. Only emotion can paint the true extent, true implications of climate change, because its numbers are infinite, and its jargon flies like a comet across time and space as opposed to scientific terminology that falls to the ground and vanishes into dust. So I will continue to focus on the negative. I will continue to try and awaken us to the darkness before we can even take any last-minute mitigation action. Because only if we awaken to the dark nightmare of our failed system in its totality, only then will we truly believe that our civilization is the monstrosity that it has become. Only then will we consciously decide that we don't want to be in this place anymore, that we want a better place, not because it is nice to have, but because it is an issue of life and death. Until then, all of our delusions, consumeristic distractions, and avoidance of pain will continue to keep us from taking any action at all. Just like the climate science data, the damage to our ability to wake up is greater than previously thought. Our sleep is much deeper than previously thought. Our gap with reality is far greater than we had assumed. And our ability to move in the right direction ever so much weaker than previously expected. It is time to wake up and enter the nightmare. Are you brave enough? Good stuff from George Sacroclides. I hope you all enjoyed that reading. And lastly, I wanted to quickly reference this article in The Guardian about U.S. forest rangers having to haul human poop out of wilderness areas. Worst work in the world. U.S. park rangers grapple with tide of human waste. It's a wild article. Some of the poop that they take out of the forests, they have to take out by helicopter. Again, I'm all for experiencing nature. I'm all for humans, taking hikes and getting in touch with nature, but we absolutely need to shut humans out of some, a lot of nature needs to just be off limits to humans. Because if there's enough human poop going on in these national parks and wildlife areas, that it's a problem to get rid of. It has to be helicoptered out. There's too many humans in the wildlife areas. Yeah, I'm sorry, avid hikers and naturalists and all y'all. It's time to shut humans out of many, many places in the wild. I know some will disagree with me, but I'm sorry. It has to be done. There are plenty of places for humans to go. There should be just, certain places that humans can go and destroy with their walking and they're hiking and they're running and they're doing and they're pooping and they're camping and all that stuff. Like, yeah, that's totally great. But some places should absolutely be off limits to humans. And it's ridiculous. This is, peak ridiculousness of human beings, that they're helicoptering waste out of wildlife areas because there's too much poop. Maybe the poop isn't the problem. Maybe it's the humans. That's the problem. Anyways, Basil Peterson, humans ruin everything. Indeed. Yeah. One of the things we all need to awaken to when we're trying to propose solutions and or new ways to live to the general public or our friends or our families. Maybe not every place is for us. Maybe there should be lots and lots of places that humans just absolutely should not and cannot go. Okay, going to move on to some political stuff. I don't know. I think I briefly touched on this, but Jimmy Dore has a proposal, and he is urging all progressive. This is a progressive news channel. He's urging all progressive news channels, any lefty channels or any channels at all, to take up the clarion call to get Medicare for all. He's not even really asking it for Medicare for all to be passed. He's just asking for a vote on the floor. He's asking for awareness about Medicare for all, something that Joe Biden has said that he would veto if it came across his desk. That's how much Joe Biden cares about you and Latino people and black people and LGBT people and women of color. That's how much he cares about people, that he's going to veto Medicare for all if it comes across his desk. He said that. Those are his words. Anyways, Jimmy Dore thinks that there should at least just be a floor vote in the House of Representatives for Medicare for all. And the way that he thinks that this could happen is that all the lovely, the nice, the good words progressives, all the progressives that are on Twitter saying the good words and the nice words, that they actually put their money where their mouth is and withhold their vote for Nancy Pelosi as Speaker of the House in order to get a vote on Medicare for all. It actually is a really solid idea, and a lot of other people agree with this. This is a very solid plan, but it means jeopardizing the possible, it means kind of pressuring Nancy Pelosi or saying like, well, maybe there's a chance that you might not be Speaker of the House if we withhold our votes. Maybe we can pressure the people in power. So Justin Jackson tweets out, if AOC and the squad don't do what Jimmy Dore has suggested and withhold their vote for Pelosi for speakership until Medicare for all gets brought to the floor, not even talking about passing it, just bring it to the floor, they will be revealing themselves. Power concedes nothing without a demand. Well, this is so interesting because guess what? AOC reveals herself. She reveals what an empty, worded progressive she is. Sorry to say. She's got a lot of really good words. AOC, man, she's just super on fire on Twitter. This girl is on fire on Twitter. Wow. So progressive. But she says, in response to this, the problem with this idea is that there isn't enough thought given to step 2. The Dem votes aren't there yet, and with a razor-thin margin, the Dem no's are greater than the margin. So you issue threats, hold your vote, and lose. Then what? If you want to know who's opposed, look at the co-sponsor list. Okay. She's saying that you can't do this. And she also says, in contrast, you can use leverage to push for things that can happen and change lives, i.e. the $15 minimum wage, vote in the first 100 days, doable, elevating longtime progressive champions to important positions of leadership, also doable. That's the opportunity cost to weigh. So somebody actually brought up a really good point, which is that they've been arguing about the $15 minimum wage for like 12 years. And at this point in time, $15 minimum wage isn't even enough, right? That's not, now we've blown past the mark where $15 would actually be a livable wage or do any kind of good for anybody. Now it's like 20 or 25. So 12 years later, we still don't have a $15 minimum wage, and we're talking about trying to pass it in 2020. He's just trying to get Medicare for all passed in a pandemic, in the middle of a pandemic. I think it's a great idea. Lots of people in here are just, Jimmy Dore is so dumb. He's just stupid, blah, blah, blah. I mean, why would he, why would he risk all this wrath by proposing that people actually put their money where their mouth is and withhold their vote from Nancy Pelosi? Also, a really good point that Jimmy Dore has is that if you can't, if you have to do Nancy Pelosi's bidding, what's the point of you being in Congress? Wouldn't you rather go against a Republican, fight a Republican, tell a Republican that he's wrong, then, but you won't risk actually telling Nancy Pelosi she's wrong. And it's just a very interesting replies to this. But anyways, I'm trying to give voice to this idea. I agree. And I think the squad, should actually stop supporting the Democratic establishment and, put their careers on the line possibly and exert a little bit of power. This actually goes along with something else very interesting that I was not aware of until I watched an episode with Graham Elwood. Just interviewed a woman about the stable coin act. Super interesting. She says, and I forget her name, and I apologize, Rosie, I forget her last name. But if you look at, just go search Graham Elwood for this video. Very interesting video. Rashida Tlaib is backing this stable coin act, which is actually an attempt to put restrictions on cryptocurrency, an attempt to regulate cryptocurrency. And this woman that Graham Elwood interviewed said that this is actually a super establishment move by Rashida Tlaib. It's actually something that boosts and backs and protects the Federal Reserve System that we have. It's the stable coin, and I didn't really even know anything about these stable coins until I was listening to this interview. The stable coins are like cryptocurrency, but they match. It's an interesting concept. They match the dollar, the US dollar, 1-to-1, and if you invest in them, you get the interest back. So you invest your stable coin, you buy these stable coins, and it's an investment in certain projects that are beneficial for people, and you get interest back from these stable coins. So it's an interest-bearing coin based on the US dollar. And almost not, bank accounts, you can't get interest anymore from bank accounts unless you have a lot of money. Bank accounts rarely pay interest anymore. It's very hard to get a return on anything, even especially when, a few years ago, even as few as a few years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, that interest rates were at 0. So you invest in these stable coins, you can actually reap some economic benefit. And these coins, these stable coins, actually help communities of color. They help poor people. They help poor people be able to invest in things and get a return on their investment. So they're like entry level, very good entry level investment opportunities for people who are having a hard time accruing wealth. Anyways, Rashida Tlaib is backing this bill, and it's actually just a straight up establishment, oligarch, Federal Reserve protection bill. Right? So this, Rashida Tlaib, super big progressive. She's so progressive. She's super cool, super progressive, but she's backing this bill that's going to gut and kind of eviscerate these stable coins. And further than that, it's going to regulate other cryptocurrencies in a way that we do not want them regulated. Anyways, just giving a shout out. I don't have time to cover the whole thing that Graham Elwood covered in his video, but please go check that video out. It's very informative. And let's see. We're moving on. This is a really great meme tweeted out by Gritty is the Way. He says, Democratic Party is the graveyard of social movements. It's pretty great. I don't even know what this one is back here. I can't tell. It's so small. I'm not sure what does this mean? Anybody know what this first one is? I don't know what it is. But anyways, the peace movement or the anti-war movement here, the Occupy movement here, the Green movement here, the Me Too movement here, and we see the Reaper, the Democratic Party Reaper knocking on the door of Black Lives Matter. Good meme. Let's move on to something from Taylor Hudak. And we are going back to discussing censorship. The chilling effect has happened. Censorship runs rampant on social media and YouTube. We need everyone who has been on the receiving end of this techno-tyranny to unite as one voice against it while we still can. This starts with freeing Julian Assange. So Taylor Hudak has been covering the Assange trial and doing good work. But she is absolutely right. Censorship is running amok on all social media. It has only gone up. Censorship has only accelerated after Trump, has lost, or of course, on every single, if anybody is talking about the election, every single tweet, Facebook post, and or YouTube post, if you're talking about the election, they have to put the AP is called the race for Biden, right? Fact checkers, fact check. We got to fact check your post. That is part of the censorship and suppression tactics and or campaign by the powers that be. Censorship is going to get worse. Many people have been talking about the fact that censorship is going to start skyrocketing everywhere, and it's only going to get worse, and who knows where it's going to lead. YouTube channels are being suppressed like crazy. Again, the reason why I'm on Rockfin is because I gained like 10 followers yesterday. On YouTube, I lost 2, right? Because nobody's watching. It's very difficult to deal with because it's not just that they're committing fraud as far as the numbers go, as far as not showing what's really happening. But it's like psychological warfare also, right? So if you get your little fact check, thing applied to your tweet or your YouTube post or your Facebook post, there are, again, I showed yesterday, Jimmy Dore said he could not post the video about the strike in India because they, apparently it went against, their policies on some level, whatever. So tweets and posts and videos are being taken down, are being blocked, are being, suppressed on every level. This channel is being suppressed on every level. It's a psychological thing too, because it's really hard for me to know. You know, it's like living with somebody with mental illness or a narcissist, right? You do the right things, or you do your very best, and you try and like cooperate or do good things with people or for people, or, you know, just live your life in a good, upstanding way. And that's not good for a narcissist, right? Yet everything you do is bad. Everything is wrong. You know, you're the worst person in the world. You live in a fun house filled with mirrors that are distorted. Everything is all over the place. It's really hard to know what to do or the way to do it, or what, you know. So if I'm trying to figure out like how to make my channel better, or how to give people what they want, I have no idea what to do. I have no idea, because everything I do is bad. You know, my channel just goes down. I lose viewers. I lose views. I lose, you know, ad money. I lose everything. And I'm like, how do I have no idea what it is I can do, right? If I assume that my viewers are going away, and I try to do things that make it better for my viewers to come to my channel, like, I have no idea where to go. Anyways, on Rockfin, I'm living in a world in which reality exists, right? Like, I'm doing the right thing. I'm getting followers. I'm getting views. I can at least rely on the information that I'm getting there to be based on reality. And so therefore I can better adapt and learn, and, you know, how to make my channel better for people, or better for my viewers, right? I have none of those, you know, real feedbacks or ability to do, you know, better for my viewers on YouTube at all, because everything is, again, I'm living in a fun house filled with crazy distorted mirrors, and I don't know which way is up. So it's very disorienting. It's very psychologically damaging. It's really messed up. It's abusive. Like, that's the level of censorship that's going on everywhere. I'm actually gonna show you something that's really interesting. Just an example of censorship on YouTube. Roger Hallam did an interview with Chris Hedges. Roger Hallam is a bit of a rock star, right? He's a bit of a superstar. He started his YouTube channel like a month ago, and I subscribed immediately to his YouTube channel. Roger Hallam is like world renowned. You know, he's worldwide. Everyone, you know, he has a huge following globally, right? Everybody knows who Roger Hallam is. One of the co-founders of Extinction Rebellion. He has 300 subscribers on YouTube. When I subscribed to his YouTube channel about a month ago, he had like 250 subscribers. How is it possible that Roger Hallam only has 300 subscribers on YouTube? It is only possible if YouTube is suppressing the shit out of Roger Hallam, because they don't like Roger Hallam. They do not like Roger Hallam. He is a threat to the system. He is a threat to all systems everywhere. He's telling the truth about climate change, and they do not like him. So his subscriber count has gone up by about 15 since yesterday, probably because he did an interview with Chris Hedges, major, again, also world-renowned author, writer, speaker, etc., political pundit. And again, this interview from yesterday only has like 1,500 views, which is crazy, which is insane. An interview with Chris Hedges and Roger Hallam. They've gotten a few more views since yesterday, but you know, yesterday when I watched this video, they had like 700 views. Just insane. So this is not even possible in the real world, right? If YouTube were telling the truth about their numbers, we're not suppressing and censoring people, this interview should already have thousands of views, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 views. Roger Hallam should already have 10,000 subscribers. It's just insane what's going on. Again, so please, the reason why I'm saying this, the reason why I'm speaking up about this is because the more we all speak up about this, the harder it is for those people to keep on doing this, right? So we need a cacophony of voices. We need everyone speaking up loudly, far and wide. All channels are talking about this. All the channels I'm following on YouTube are talking about this. This is a huge, huge problem. And it can only, I don't know if we're going to make it go away, if we're going to fix it, but the only way we're going to push back against it is by talking about it and being very vocal about it. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm talking about this on this channel. I'm being very vocal about it. So I see you, YouTube. I see what you're doing. Powers that be. I see what you're doing. Twitter. I see what you're doing. You cannot keep doing this. You cannot get away with this. We are not going to let you. Do you understand that? Yeah, I mean, climate change is already not a very popular subject anyways, Irk1. Right. It's already a difficult subject to bring up or to get viewers to, but it's becoming more popular, right? It's becoming a thing, right? And people are becoming more aware about climate change, and they want real news about climate change. They want real information around climate change. They want the real deal. They want the nitty gritty, right? And so, yeah. Let's move on. Interesting article out of Wall Street Journal. Just very so. If you haven't heard, now Hunter Biden is under investigation. And guess what? If you didn't know this, apparently we weren't supposed to talk about this before the election, and this is all fake news, and this is all false news, and how dare you? Oh my God, that you're Russian bots. Whoa, this is kind of a bombshell revelation. Bill Barr, who was supposed to be Trump's lapdog attorney, who's supposed to be, this, I mean, he is a swamp creature, no doubt. Bill Barr is absolutely a swamp creature. But supposedly he's one of Trump's henchmen and lapdog, right? These are the words that liberals use in regards to Bill Barr. Bill Barr worked to keep Hunter Biden probes from public view during the election. What? The Attorney General knew for months about investigations into Biden's business and financial dealings. Whoa. He has known about a disparate set of investigations involving Hunter Biden's business and financial dealings since at least the spring. Wow. A person familiar with the matter said and worked to avoid their public disclosure during the heated election campaign. What? So, holy shnikes, Batman. I mean, this supposed henchman of Trump was actually hiding or working not to disclose that Hunter Biden was under investigation. This is wild. Because golly gee, that might have tilted the election or made something people think twice about Hunter Biden. And the thing to really understand about this is this isn't about Hunter Biden. This is the fact that Hunter Biden is a conduit for corruption straight to Joe Biden, right? It's all about access to Joe Biden, right? What possible qualities or expertise does Hunter Biden bring to any of these boards, or what does he bring to the table? Not one thing. Not one thing. Not knowledge, not expertise, not economic acumen, not political acumen. He brings access to his father, straight up corruption. It's all a big ass swamp, and you're not invited. All of it. Trump, Biden, Barr, all these people need to go. Anyways, let's move on to this wild story. And the audio, hold on one second to see if I can find a conference call with black leaders. And he just Biden is a despicable dude, and he said just some insanely inappropriate and wild things in the face of this call from black leaders to do something for black people, to issue executive orders, to do something significant and substantial for black people. You know, the black people who helped Biden win and get rid of Trump. Thank you, black women. Thank you, black people. You got rid of our fascist guy, the fascist guy, and you got the good guy in. So the good guy, here's what the good guy says to the black people that helped him win. Inside Biden's meeting with civil rights leaders. This is from The Intercept. Just wild. Just wild. Hold on. Democrats in the House, Senate, and around the country have been urging President-elect Joe Biden to use the maximum amount of executive authority available to him in order to grow the economy, expand civil rights, protect the climate, and otherwise implement the agenda he ran on, despite the expected obstruction from a Republican Senate. So these people are asking Joe Biden to, go up against Republicans, or go up against the forces that be, to enact some good things for the people, his constituents, the people that voted him into office. Take a stand. Get a little dirty, right? Rough it up a little bit with the Republicans, right? Go against the Republicans. On Tuesday, a group of civil rights leaders urged him privately to take a slew of executive actions during a 2-hour virtual meeting. While Biden didn't close the door to anything specific, he was far from enthusiastic about the idea of using executive action. He almost literally told them to shut the hell up. Or how dare you question my intentions? How dare you question my record? How dare you question Joe Biden, king of the world? A recording of the virtual meeting attended by Biden, Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, and civil rights leaders was obtained by The Intercept. Excerpts from it can be heard in this week's Deconstructed podcast, which you can find for free on any platform that hosts podcasts. But here's what Biden told civil rights leaders.
And so there's some things that I'm going to be able to do by executive order. I'm not going to hesitate to do it. But what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to do what Benita, you probably used to get angry with me during the debates, when you'd have some of the people you were supporting said, on day one, I'm going to executive order to do this. Not within the constitutional authority. I am not going to violate the Constitution.
Oh, guys, Constitution. I'm sorry, I can't do it, guys, because Constitution.
Executive authority that my progressive friends talk about is way beyond the bounds. And as one of you said, maybe you, Reverend now, well, whether it's far left or far right, there is a Constitution. It's our only hope. Our only hope. And the way to deal with it is, where I have executive authority, I will use it to undo every single damn thing this guy's done by executive authority. But I'm not going to exercise executive authority where it's questioned, where I can come along and say...
So I'm going to use executive authority to undo what Trump did, but I'm not going to use executive authority to help you, to help people, to do good things. Can't do it. Sorry. Wouldn't be prudent.
Okay, I can do away with assault weapons. There's no executive authority to do away with that. And no one's fought harder to get rid of assault weapons than me. Me.
No one, me.
But you can't do it by executive order. If you do that, next guy comes along and says, well, guess what? By executive order, I'm going to say everybody can own machine guns again.
That wasn't the... I mean, he actually said some wilder stuff than that. Hold on. Here we go.
One of the things I'd be concerned about, just as it was pointed out to me that you wanted me to be concerned, Derek, I think it was you said it, about, dealing with Vilsack as in terms of agriculture. Well, first of all, you can learn more about Vilsack's record, but my point is this. I don't think we should make that a big issue going into before January 5th when the election takes place down in Georgia. But I also don't think we should get too far ahead of ourselves on dealing with police reform in that, because they've already labeled us as being defund the police. Anything we put forward in terms of the organizational structure to change policing would...
Oh, they already labeled us as defund the... They labeled us as wild-eyed lefty insurgents, communists. Well, we don't want anybody to think that. So that means we can't do anything. Sorry.
Which I promise you will occur. Promise you. Just think to yourself and give me advice whether we should do that before January 5th, because that's how they beat the living hell out of us across the country, saying that we're talking about defunding the police. We're not. We're talking about holding them accountable. We're talking about giving them money to do the right things. We're talking about putting more psychologists and psychiatrists on the telephones when the 911 calls through. We're talking about spending money to enable them to do their jobs better, not more with more force, with less force and more understanding.
Cool. That actually made some sense, and I'm down with that. But he said something that was really super crazy. Let's see if I can find it.
I want to start by thanking you all for your leadership and support.
That can help deal with. First, I want to underscore how important.
Oh, well, the hell with y'all. But because it's real. It's real. Making sure that. You may remember, I'm the first person, I'm president of the United States of America. We're going to see to it the public defenders, federal defenders, get paid the same as federal prosecutors. You know, I mean what I say. The hard part here is I'm going to have a lot of trouble. We're going to have a lot of trouble getting a lot of this done with this Congress. And
right.
It is to go.
He said we're going to have a lot of trouble getting anything done with this Congress. So he's already saying, like, we're not going to be able to do anything. Sorry, guys. Right? We're not going to be able to do anything. Sorry.
It wouldn't be the holiday season if there was.
We're,
right?
Celebrate the holiday season with the holiday.
You know, we're going to have all this. We're going to have a lot of obstruction by Republicans. So, you know, don't get your hopes up. You know, Green New Deal, don't get your hopes up. Defund the police, don't get your hopes up. Whatever else, you know, Medicare for all or any kind of, whatever it is that you want, just, you know, just plan on some failure, okay? That's where we're going with this. I actually wanted to find some specific parts of that interview that somehow got lost. So, and I don't really have time to go hunt them down right now in this particular live stream, but I'm going to go, I think tomorrow, I will bring back some, there were a few clips that were like super wild. Jimmy Dore actually just did a show on this, and super wild clips, things that Joe Biden was saying that were just like, you know, like I ran on, you know, how dare you question my my intentions? You know, I was the only one that ran on Charlottesville. You know, I'm the only one that ran on getting police reform or whatever. He just rambled on some crazy shit. Anyways, I'll see if I can find those specific quotes and I will bring them back tomorrow. Yeah, it doesn't look good. Don't get your hopes up. Forcing climate info, says Green New Dealer, feeling like a backstabber. Yes, Biden has some anger issues. He is very passive aggressive. Yeah, he was literally just like yelling at them. Robert Lloyd, nothing will change except for the climate and our survival. Had Vollmer says, the next 4 years matter. This is the start. Continue. I agree. Had Vollmer, I agree. What's up, Muzza? Thanks for hanging out with us. I appreciate you being here. Everyone say what's up to Muzza. Osama says, I'm running out of Charlottesville. Yes. Yes, Cornholio, seen it on a clip of the dive. Seen a clip on the dive. Short-term memory loss badly, yes. Ryan Gorman says, Biden has a habit of yelling at black people. Yeah. Cornholio calls him despicable bi. Right. Yeah, I mean, Biden just is kind of got the whole thing that Trump has got and that Pelosi's got. If you question me, if you pin me down too hard or push me too hard, I'm just going to get angry and yell at you and tell you and say, how dare you? How dare you question my intentions? How dare you question what I'm doing, my record, etc., etc. Anyways, y'all, I think I am at the very end of what I wanted to show you. Am I at the end? I think I am. Guys, I think tomorrow I'm going to do noon, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so I'm going to do a little bit later tomorrow. Keith Hayes, Biden says, hey man, don't go there. We got it under control. Right. Kerry Johnson says, perhaps saving the earth is not our thing to do. I don't know. It's a good question. Although the earth is going to do what the earth is going to do, right? I guess. We're going to, I don't know if we can save the earth or if there's any chance for that. We probably won't save ourselves, but as far as the earth is concerned, the earth is going to do what she's going to do. So yeah. Yeah, I did cover a lot today. Thank you, Gene. Thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate that. And I think you had a friend with you, so thank you, Gene and companion, for hanging out. All right, guys. I will see you tomorrow at noon Pacific Standard Time. Thank you for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. Until next time.